Alright guys. Okay, video update number 4. Yeah, I got a bit to talk about for this one. I'm not quite sure where I am exactly. I am 40 miles away from my aunt who I'm riding to in the morning. I'm gonna be there for like 2 days. Well, that was the original plan. My mom called me when I got to the place I'm at right now. Turns out my grandma was doing some research last night. The site that I was looking at for where Jesus, my biological father, I don't know if I've called him Jesus before. The site I looked at, it still says he's at Wheeler Correctional Facility, but he is at another facility, the Calhoun State Prison, which is about 250 miles west of where I was planning to go. So yeah, when I get to my aunt's, I'm gonna figure out what my next step is. My grandma kind of wants to take me that distance just because it's supposed to be like 110 in like the middle of Georgia. It's like the heat index or something. I mean, I don't know. I still might ride those extra miles. I'm gonna figure that out over the next couple of days. The reason why still like trying to figure out visitation stuff and I hadn't figured that out all before is I wanted to kind of catch him by surprise. I didn't really want him to know I was coming. From the stories I've heard about him and just from everything, I know him to be manipulative. So I wanted the most real reaction I could get, and I thought I could get that by, just showing up out of the blue. It's clear that that's not going to be able to happen at this point. I don't know if I've made this clear before, exactly why it's so important for me to kind of have this meeting. Everything I know about him pretty much is very sketchy. I mean, not everything. I know a couple good things about him, but the point is, everything I know about him has been from stories and from letters, and I don't know if this makes sense, but I just feel like I can't really know him unless I have some kind of actual experience with him. I don't have any memories. I mean, I know I interacted with him till I was about a year and a half. I don't have any actual memories. I don't have any experience to think about when I try to think of who he is. And I guess I need this one real moment, this one connection to actually see that he is who everyone has been telling me he is, or maybe he's someone else. Maybe he's changed from what everyone has said. I don't know, but I need this one experience. So I'm sorry if I've said this already, but that's why I'm doing this trip. He's been a part of my life, and he hasn't at the same time. I need something tangible, I guess. I'm gonna explain a little bit why he is where he is too. He's from Mexico, came into America, I don't think illegally, but he wasn't a citizen. He and my mom got married. They did love each other, but the main reason for the marriage was actually just to stay in the United States. They had me. They were together for 6 months in New York, and then my mom went down to Georgia, and they got a divorce down in Georgia. She would take me to see him. We would still hang out with him. During one of the visits, which is the last time I saw him, he attempted to take me from my mom by force. My mom fought him off with all of her strength. She got away. She called the police, and he went to prison for 3 years for false imprisonment. I'm a little confused actually at the moment if that was false imprisonment of her or another incident with some type of law enforcement officer, but I don't have enough details at all to talk about that part. So I'm gonna ignore that. So he went to prison for 3 years, then was deported out of the United States, couldn't come in, and that's all part of a restraining order. And he wasn't allowed to contact us either, but he had contacted my mom's work. He had found our different residences, which is actually why we moved around. When we moved to New York, just a couple months after we moved, he was caught trying to come in through the Canada border. Yeah, that's when he got arrested again and is now serving the 10 years for that, for aggravated stalking. That's why he's in prison at the moment. This is kind of the version that I've heard from my mom when she talks to me about it. So I try not to talk with her too much about it, just because it's hard for her to go through that experience again. I don't want her to. So I've talked with her occasionally. I've talked with other family members who've known him, and know the situation. So I have a lot of questions for him, kind of why he did, things he did. There were a lot of letters that he did write to me, which, were part of the case, and I've read them. They were written to me starting from when I was like 2. They've continued on through the years, and they've all been directly to me. They've all been kind of pretty mature, usually asking how I am, things I'm doing, as well as telling me about himself, and also him trying to explain that my rights and his rights have been violated, and he wants to fix that. For a while I was worried about meeting him just because I knew he was going to say he's tried everything to get in contact with me and start a relationship. I didn't really know, and I still kind of don't know exactly what I'm going to say to him when he says that, but I do know that he hasn't done everything. If he really did, he wouldn't have just written to me in this weird way, trying to excluding my mom. She's the one that cared for me. I was still really small. I wouldn't have been able to understand most of what he was writing. If he wanted to actually be a part of my life, he could have written to her and said, I'll do anything. A big part of me is worried that when I go there, part of his goal, to keep contacting us and keep contacting me is to hurt my mom. If I feel at all like that is what he's trying to do, I'm not going to continue with him at all. So at the moment, I guess I'm just trying to actually make the visit happen. It's a pretty complicated process as we're getting more and more into it. I think they usually allow visits mainly in May and November, but there are emergency visits that they allow, which can be done within 48 hours. But the thing is that he needs to be the one to request the visit, and when he requests the visit, he needs to present them with the visitor's ID, so my ID, and it needs to have my address on it. I can't give him a New York address for obvious reasons. That would just be endangering, my family. I think there's a way I can give him an address that he already has. I think I'll be able to do this hopefully within the next week, but it's possible I might have to try to make the visit in November. And if that's the case, I'm still documenting everything. This whole process of actually trying to get the visit, I'm documenting the trip, I'm filming everything I can. So I'm sorry that this hasn't gone the way that I had planned it originally, but I'm gonna make the visit happen. I'm gonna keep doing this trip, and I'm gonna figure out what I need to do in the next couple days, and I'm gonna let all of you know what exactly that is. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much all I have to say for today. I just want to thank everyone again for watching and following me on this trip, and I've been getting a lot of messages from old friends and different people from different parts of my life. Yeah, I wish I'd been more involved with everyone. I know I'm a quiet guy, more reserved. I think I'm still going to be kind of a quiet guy, but I can definitely be more involved with everybody. This trip has kind of shown me a lot of things, and I feel like I've changed a lot on it. There's still more I gotta do, and more that hopefully will keep changing. But yeah, I really want to thank everyone. This would be a much harder trip if I didn't have the support that I did. And yeah, so thank you, and I'll let you guys know what happens, and I'll keep updating you, and I'm gonna get to the next part.